When you are thinking about making your own game for the first time, you probably watch some YouTube videos trying to understand mistakes by people who developed their first game. You must have heard this quote: make small games. But do you know the reality? Do you know how lengthy the entire process of game development is? Do you know how these 6 months as described from these YouTube videos is too short for any good indie game? This is the story of my game, Sleeper S9, a failure. It was the first day of 2025. I had been learning game development seriously for the past 3 months, and so I made a resolution to apply my knowledge and create a fully functional game before the March of 2025. Yes, in just 3 months, which was an absolutely terrible deadline. The only thing I was good at was programming, since I invested most of my time in courses by CodeMonkey. I also watched some courses by Blender Guru and in total spent more than 500 hours doing 3D modeling for my game, only to realize later that I am absolutely the worst 3D artist ever and I should never ever touch Blender again in my life. Well, these were just the beginning. My game is highly inspired by a horror puzzle game called Exit 8. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be so cool if the same genre took place in an Indian train? This is where it all began. For those of you who don't know, Exit 8 is a game where you go through 8 levels where anything could happen, or maybe not. You need to memorize the original level, and as you progress to the next floor, you might find anomalies or changes that weren't there before. You basically play detective, and based on what you observe, decide whether you go forward or backward. Your correct decision leads you to the next level, and ultimately out of Exit 8. I started with modeling first and I found a foundational model for my train. To be very honest, this foundational model was actually really bad and I had to tweak so many changes and vertices that it took me probably more than 100 hours just to fix this train. I also found out that back face culling was a thing. And oh boy, if you do modeling and don't know what that is, you are in for a rough ride, man. After some time, I realized that I needed to start programming and make the core functionality of my game, which turned out to be a little more difficult than I first imagined. It took me more than 3 days and 3 failed attempts to implement a proper algorithm for this gameplay loop. It might seem easy at first, but it's actually not, especially because of something called quaternions. In simple terms, rotations. I ended up writing thousands and thousands of lines of codes to get this loop working, and this is how my game looked for the first time ever. After that, because of how modular and well designed my system was, I only needed to do some modeling, make the origin level for the game, and then create anomaly levels. All I had to do was add these new levels to a list and the program would handle the rest like a charm. After some more programming and modeling, I made my first ever Blender movie. It was a 60-second clip of me walking through the dimly lit coaches of my game. It was a pain in the ass because Blender took more than 24 hours to render this clip. I published it on Instagram and to my surprise, it actually went really viral. I got more than 200,000 views in this video. It was also liked by some of the biggest YouTuber and streamer from India. One of my biggest mistakes of my life was that I didn't publish a Steam page. I was so sure my game wouldn't perform well on social media, but I was wrong. And that's where my big mistakes started. All of a sudden, seeing so many views, so many comments and messages, it got me tensed up. I rushed into things. I made an absolutely garbage Steam store page and started promoting my game with it. It was already mid February and I had an audience now. I told everyone that I would release my game by March, which created even more pressure on me. I completely rushed through things. I got so busy with programming and modeling that I couldn't post updates on social media. I lost around 25% of my followers just because I didn't give them any updates until the game was released. I worked my ass off and got the game working by mid-April. I started posting new clips of the game again, but unfortunately this time the clips never went viral. Most people had already forgotten about my game. But I thought it was fine and I set the release date to May 1st of 2025. I also made an absolutely ugly trailer. I slowly got really good at programming and modeling, but I totally lacked knowledge about Steam, how to store page works, how to market properly. Somehow I got 200 wishlist before release. I thought, wow, that's amazing. 200 people already? And that was also a huge mistake. I had no idea what I was doing on the business side of making games, and there were many errors and mistakes I made when I released my game for the first time. And the result? This is how much I made from my first indie game, around $250, with a whooping 40% refund rate, which means I only got around $130. I also realized that making a game that targets Indian audience is a very bad idea. India is absolutely not a market for gaming. Please do not make games set in India or targeting Indian audience, if of course you want to make a living out of video games. So in total, I spent around $100 for Steam page, $20 for one of the assets, around $20 for sound, about $50 for Photoshop, and yes, I didn't use any cracked software. I actually purchased Adobe software. Adobe Shop, Adobe, about if you get it, yeah, you get it. And also, I purchased around $100 for FL Studios to make music myself. This all adds up to $300, and my total net profit is around negative $160. Yeah. I did receive a lot of positive reviews, but also some negative ones, like the ones you can see on the screen. My game is a short game. It can be finished within 2 hours, which makes players eligible to refund it on Steam. So many people finished it and still refunded it, which is why I have so high refund rates. So after some time, I realized that making a demo could be a good idea because there were almost no active players left. So I released a demo, which you can play absolutely free from the link in description. Also, the game is in much better state than before. If you would like, check it out and let me know your opinions and how many anomalies you found. There are a total of 64 anomalies in the game, and in demo, you can explore 32 of them. Of course, these demo anomalies are simpler compared to the rest, but I think it's a fair and good deal. You can do quite a lot in the game. I paid special attention to the UI and made it really smooth and good looking. Following a suggestion from a friend, I also added a button where you can see all the anomalies you have encountered so far. It feels like an achievement system, and it is probably one of the best but also one of the most complicated features that I have added. All of these features are also available in the demo, which again is absolutely free. Speaking of cost, another massive mistake I made was pricing my game at around $8, which is double the price of Exit 8, the same game I took inspiration from. This was very stupid. I thought I could use the dip discount with high price, a common stupid person's strategy. Later, when I reduced the price by over 50%, I did see some growth in revenue. But if I had done it sooner, I would have had much more success. Well, that was it, me yapping about my failure. I'm going to release more videos like this in the future, talking about the updates I made to improve my game, because honestly, this video was just a glimpse. I made a lot more mistakes in level design, game breaking glitches, localizations, etc. If you are interested, hit that subscribe button and like the video. Also, don't be shy to comment. I would love to talk with anyone. In the next videos, I'm going to talk about some of the really nice updates I made, and also some insights about marketing, how audience from different locations perceive your game, and more. If you are an indie developer, I think you will really enjoy these. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see you again in my next videos.